Hi, this is Vicky from Knitting at the Top of the World, and I have no clue what episode it's been. It's been so long. So, I have to do lots of rehashing, that means. I'm so sorry I haven't posted an episode in probably since February. Long story short, things got hectic. I had to focus on my work and making it through my work to get here. And if you're noticing, this is not the same place I posted from last. This is my new house. I have moved. That in the background is a nice painting my kids made me before I left. This is my new craft room. And notice the clutter has already started, but I did organize my yarn. But anyhow, so I've moved. I've accepted a job here in Delta Junction, Alaska, as the elementary intensive needs special education teacher. So those of you who have any familiarity with where I've taught before, elementary special education is actually what my specialty is, and intensive needs education is actually sorry, I'm trying to even out the computer. My table is still crooked. But intensive needs special education is in fact actually my specialty. I don't know what you'd call it. That's the area of which I'm qualified. So I'm qualified to work with students who are nonverbal, who have intensive behaviors due to disability, not due to actual emotional disturbance. Those are completely different qualifications, which is what I was doing in Barrow, kind of. I was doing intensive needs, but I also was doing emotional disturbance, an area I'm not qualified in. But anyhow, I have moved. I live in a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house. And actually it has a 4th bedroom and it does have a garage. I have a car now, and I'm living on, I think, somewhere between 5 and 10 acres of land. I have a bear in my backyard. Yeah, that's an interesting thing right now. And moose. And I've actually been really loving it. I moved in a little over a week ago, so it's a little crazy right now. The craft room is still in the progress of being set up. We did paint it, my father and I. My dad was here helping me, and then actually I had a friend staying in here because she's also moving to Delta. So it's been pretty cool. So long story short, I'm going to start posting episodes again. I'm going to be in Delta for the next 2 weeks. Then I'm going to go to Florida for 5 weeks. Then I'm coming back to Delta for the rest of the summer and the school year. So I'm really excited. In the last few days, the people here in Delta have been amazing. I've been able to go visit the school. I've been able to go hang out in my classroom, meet all my students, got to meet a lot of my parents that I'm going to be working with this year. It's just incredible. I don't even know how to describe it. I've never had a first year or a start of a year like this. Now, for some of you guys, you're saying, oh, it's the beginning of May or mid-May. Well, now it's mid-May. Well, Barrow got out of school about 2 weeks ago, so it's not so early for us. Here in Delta, they just got out the other day, so it's a little different, but Barrow's been out for a while, so I was able to move out of my house in Barrow, move into the house here in Delta. My father did fly up to help me, because this was a little bit of a different move than I've done before. So when you're moving from village to village, you just put everything in a tote and you throw it in the U.S. Postal Mail, and either it shows up in the village post office, the school in your village, or in your house. Like this year when I moved to Barrow, I didn't have to move any boxes in. They were already in my house. All I had to do was open them and empty them. This year, I had to do 2 flights. So I went from Barrow to Fairbanks in April at one point, dropped off 7 boxes, and then I came back, and then I came back and dropped off 7 more a little bit later in the year, closer to the end of the school year, and had a long weekend here, which was really nice actually. But long story short, I moved on the fly, so I am just now starting to go through boxes, hang curtains. I had to make curtains because all the curtains I had from my village housing were all different sizes. So they didn't match. So I made new curtains. I spent a small fortune at Joann's Fabric. I have a brand new, or new to me, bed. My father, who is an amazing man, found me a cast iron bed at a yard sale here in Delta. And then he, while I was out at work spray painted it the color teal I like. If you haven't noticed, I really like my turquoisey tealy blue, and I like mint too. I'm that chick. I like coral and mint. But he did all of that and set up my room. He painted this room here while I was on the phone with an insurance agency trying to get insurance. So I have never switched my driver's license till this year to an Alaska State driver's license because I've never driven. I've been living in a village where I could walk everywhere. Well, this year it's not the case. I'm driving distance from Fairbanks. So I figured I'd get a driver's license and a car. How hard could it be? It's actually kind of difficult. I got the car easily, and then the issue was then getting the driver's license and insurance. Insurance wanted proof of residency, and of course, if you moved 2 days beforehand, you don't have proof of residency because you paid no bills except for rent. And they wouldn't accept my rent check as a proof of residency or my lease. So I did eventually get insurance because I had to talk to a human on the phone and actually explain to them the situation of I'm brand new in town. All I want is to be able to drive. So that's happened. I've also gotten a bicycle because I'm living it's about a mile to work from my house. So I figured I could bike till the weather gets nasty. And I bought snow tires, or I bought a bike with snow tires already on it. They're all year tires apparently. But it's really cool. So I'm actually really excited to be here. So I do know some of you viewers are actually from Barrow. I was really sad to leave Barrow. I'm going to be honest. Didn't really want to go. Wasn't up to me. I can't get into it honestly, but for those of you in Barrow, I am very sorry that I left, and I'm so happy that I got to meet your kids. They were wonderful. I really loved working with them all. On the brighter side, I am going to be visiting in Barrow. I have friends there still. I already promised my class that I would come and visit them. They actually made me a quilt. Here, I'm trying to get it so you guys can see the quilt. That is the quilt they made me. That was a special video, I know. But the kids made me a quilt. They all made a patch. And they did the same for Lynn, the long-term sub who came in at the end of the year for the other class. Because I was teaching at one point both classes, so I know some of you are like, hey, I know your class. That's not all your kids. No, they actually decided to give Miss Lynn or Miss C their quilt. So the other class gave Miss C their quilt. My class gave me my quilt. It was really sweet of them. I was very impressed. They were wonderful. And so, yeah. So this is my new craft room. I think I'm going to show you guys the living room a little bit later. I'm going to do a few episodes in the next few weeks where I actually break up showing the house, because if I tried showing it to you all now, this video would never end. It's huge. I've never lived in a place this big. And I may get a roommate, I may not. But either way, it's not the end of the world. I can afford to live here. The rent was not as bad as I thought. Now, the rent's not so high because I'm letting my landlord store stuff here. Like, some of the furniture in here that I'm using is actually hers. Like, the desk, which I have my sewing machine already set up. That lamp is hers too as well. The chairs, there's a lot of stuff here that's hers. She left 2 mattresses, so I was able to have a guest bedroom with a mattress and my bedroom with a twin mattress. That is actually the funniest thing for me to start adjusting to, is I've been downgraded back to a twin. But in the attempts to save money, I am actually going to stay in that probably till the first few paychecks. A twin bed is not going to hurt me. It's not like there's anybody else in there right now. I don't need it. But, okay, so since the last time you've seen me, I've knit a ton of socks. Those of you who follow me on Instagram have seen them. I've made 5 socks for me. Now, I've made other socks in addition to that. Like, I made Myrna, who was working in my classroom, for her birthday. I made her a pair of socks. So there are more than 5 socks that have been done since January, but I've been counting down just for me. So I have been working on Felici rainbow socks. So this is the finished sock. Now, I have stopped doing the Kitchener stitch. I have vetoed it. I'm not doing it anymore. And then I tried the decrease and around sock bind off, and I didn't like that either. I know, I'm weird. So I actually did a 2-needle bind off on the sock, and I thought it came out pretty good. I try to make sure that the yarns match up at the end. Yarns, I don't know if that's a word. The yarn matches up at the end because I think yarn is plural already. But here, I'll show you what it looks like inside out. I think if it were for anybody else, I wouldn't do this because this ridge might bother them. For me, it actually gives me a little bit more protection on the tips of my toe. I've gotten frostbite on the tip of my toes a few times, and I get blisters actually too. But in Alaska, frostbite's kind of a big deal for me, so I don't mind the tip of the toe being a little bit thicker and giving me just a little bit more protection, especially right there where then your toenails kind of meet the beginning of your toe. It's a really nasty spot to get frostbite, trust me. I really like having good toes. So this is the sock I finished though. So then here's the sock that's in progress. I have actually started making the Fish Lips Kiss heel. So I'm gonna leave it on like this because I don't want it to undo it. I was starting it when I was first moving in, realized it was like 3 a.m. and put it down. The light's been throwing me off lately, and it hasn't done that in a while, but because the light's been throwing me off, I've been having to force myself to go to bed. And last night I fell asleep at like 9:30, woke up wide awake at midnight, watched a movie, and then fell back to sleep, and I'm really struggling with the sunlight thing right now. Because I'll wake up randomly and the sun it's kind of always looking the same. It's not bright afternoon sunshiny right now, but it's pretty sunny. I mean, right now it's overcast and the sun coming in through the windows looks like it's blinding. Speaking of which, here, let me make that a little bit better. Now that just made it worse. But anyways, that was one project I've been working on, and I am drinking some tea right now out of my Hello Kitty mug. I am drinking cheap tea, Red Rose English breakfast tea. You get this at Walmart for about $3 for a big, huge pack of 100. I am waiting to stock up on the tea I like till I'm home in Florida because I looked all over Walmart and could not find any of the teas I like. And since I'm going to be home in a few weeks, I really don't care. So the next project I'm working on, I have finally started my Hippola kimono. Now, I have no clue if I just said that right, but I thought this would be something fun to wear in the summer in Florida. And I can wear it to school here. Maybe. But, so it's all cotton, and it's from We Are the Knitters. And so I have a corally color. Sorry, I'm trying to get that right lined up. A corally color in the cotton. And then the one I started last night while watching a movie at 2 a.m. I actually forced myself to stop it, but I've casted it on. I went a size needle larger because I looked at it online and on Instagram, and a lot of the ladies said it came out a little too short for them, but too wide. And so I'm casting it on larger needles, and my goal is to make it a little bit, not as wide as it is, but a lot longer. And depending on how this one goes, I think I'm going to try to make a kid's version of it in my Knits Picks cotton for my nieces, because I have enough to make them both a Hippola kimono, and we can wear it to the beach together. Because in the next few weeks here, I'm going to Sanibel with my mother and some other family members, and hopefully I'll get to see all the kids. I plan on going and picking up my youngest nephew on my way home from the airport. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's the plan. And then I'm going to see Zoe because Zoe lives near my parents' house. I'll see her tons, and she's going to probably come with us to Sanibel for a weekend. And then I think I'm going to try to get Amari next, my oldest nephew, and see if we can go to Sanibel or somewhere, stay with me. And then last but not least, Miss Nani will come and stay with me. And I think what my plan is, I think she and I will have a girls' day where we go shopping and have spa time or whatever she would like to do, really. But yeah, that's kind of my plan. I'm only home for a short period of time this year. It's actually the shortest time I'll ever be home. I'm only going to be home for 5 weeks, and that's it. And then I'm coming back. I really want to get to know the community where I am. And I really didn't want to miss summer school for the kids that I was going to be working with this year. I turned down summer school in Barrow because it was going to interfere with my time working here. Or it was going the times weren't going to work out right with me getting the house set up, getting everything set up by the landlord on time, and doing summer school in Barrow. But doing summer school here, I'm not going to get paid. I'm just going to go in and volunteer. Worked out perfectly, so I'm excited about that. I also wanted to set my classroom up. I have a bigger classroom than I think I've ever had before. And it's going to have, it has stations for free play because of the nature of what my class is. So I'm going to try to go through and organize my stations and figure out what kind of toys I need to add and what I don't need to add. I have a sensory box, but I have not been able to open it to figure out what supplies I have. So I actually might be making a shout out request coming up here after I open up that sensory box, because if I need things like beads or sand or rice, that kind of stuff, some of it's easy to get here and some of it's not. And so I might request if anybody knows how to get a hold of some of those items, if they could get them to me. I saw a cool idea about making a sensory box using a kiddie pool. And so I do have a kiddie pool in my backyard. I have like a barn in the back. And so it's like a shed barn. It's a little too big to be considered a shed in my mind, and it's a little too small to be a barn for like a horse. But you could easily keep goats, chickens, and whatnot in there. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to. So far, it's no pets, but I want to have pets. But yeah, I'm going to try to see about that. I'm also going to ask a request if anybody knows what is a good classroom pet that is not a reptile. I am not even going to go into why we're not going to do a reptile in the state of Alaska. I know other people do it. I know many people with pet reptiles, especially in Alaska. I'm not a fan. I want something fuzzy and classroom friendly. So if anybody has any requests, I think the only animal I'm going to straight out veto that's fuzzy and meets those requirements is a ferret. We're not doing ferrets. Ferrets really need the space to actually run and play, and I can't just let it run in my classroom. I am thinking seriously about either a bunny or a chinchilla. I've heard good things about both, especially Rex bunnies, the big ones, or the floppy-eared ones, I guess. I'm looking for something that's going to be able to interact with the kids and is not going to die from being startled. I have screamers this year. It's not like they're screaming because they're angry or throwing a fit. It's they squeal when they're happy, some of my kids. And so I want something that isn't going to die the first time they squeal of happiness. And I had thought about fish. I'm a fish killer. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be a good idea. I'm not a fish person. I'm just not sure about it. I kind of debated turtles too. But turtles require the tank being cleaned very often and they smell. We had turtles at my parents' house a while ago. And we had to clean the tank almost 2 times a week. Which doesn't sound like much, but in my schedule, it's not really what my plan was. And I know we've had rabbits before as a kid, and you'd only have to clean the rabbit cage about once a week. But that's something more interactive that I could let the kids help me do. And I've seen some really cool rabbit cage ideas where it actually can be like a 2-story situation where the rabbit can kind of have more space to remove. And my plan was that on the weekends, it'll just come home with me. So that way it's not lonely at school. Because I do recognize that they're social animals. But if anybody has any better ideas, please let me know. I'm just looking for something hardy and not going to be traumatized. I was debating a service dog, but I can't get a service dog to bring home I'm not allowed to have dogs on at my house right now. And a service dog is a little bit more investment than I'm willing to do. I've heard people say a few times service cat. If anybody knows how to do that, I would actually seriously think about it, because I really would like a therapy animal, because not for me. I like animals, so I would like an animal no matter what it is. But I would really like to have a therapy animal in my classroom, and I need to be able to justify it. So anybody has any ideas, please. Sorry I ranted on animals. So now I guess I'm going to show you my stash, and I'm going to try to gracefully wheel myself over there without breaking anything. Yeah, this was a teenage boys' room at one time. There are stickers all over the door, so please ignore them. So I can't really show you stash enhancement, but I can show you stash organization. So up top are all projects that I have organized, not finished, and are in bags, project bags. One of them's in a project box. But up top, that is what's going on there. And here, organized by what it is my yarn stash. So here's some hand-dyed stuff that I did. This is all my Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks worsted. This is Knit Pick, Superwash worsted. This is Knit Picks wool worsted. And this Knit Picks Pima cotton. And then down here is some more hand-dyed. All different varieties. I can't tell you off the top of my head. And then the bottom is some more yarn. And here to the edge is my bag, and it has all my needles organized. So I probably spent about 5 hours today emptying the boxes for this room. Oh, and there's my new ironing board with a cat print. I'm thinking about getting a cat when I get back at summertime. I just want to wait a little bit. Well, I don't want to get it before summertime because then it has to go to Florida with me and back, and that's just a nightmare. No offense to the cat, but I can't get the chair to move. Sorry, I got stuck. I probably shouldn't have been so lazy and just gotten up, but I'm tired. I've been up at random hours today, and I just went and took a nap thinking that would help, and I think it made things worse. My skirt got eaten by the chair, sorry. So, what else can I tell you guys about? Oh, I have yarn I would like to donate, and I need help finding where I can donate yarn and needles. Well, first things first, I should put out a shout out. The yarn is cheap yarn. So this is some hand-dyed stuff. This was a practice hand-dye I did, and I honestly didn't really like how it turned out. Somebody else might like it. Same here with here. I tried doing some hand-dyeing in my crock pot. Somebody told me to try that, and it just didn't work out as I planned. And this, oddly enough, came out of the same crock pot as this at the same time. It's frustrating to no end. This reminds me of the Incredible Hulk, though. So this one might stay, but the others, yeah, I'm wanting to find them, rehome them. Somebody rehomed me some Red Heart yarn, and it was heartfelt, so I didn't want to tell them that it's Red Heart and I don't really need it. But I know somebody else would like to knit with stuff. And I never think that I should throw yarn away. And then I also have a huge amount of double pointed needles. These are the cheap kind. They're not Chia-Goos. They're not anything wonderful. But if anybody knows of a place where these will be used and the yarn will be used, I will happily send it. You can just message me, and then I'll give you my email, and you can shoot me an email about it. But I would really like to donate them. There's things like yarn needles in here and all sorts of great stuff. Tons and tons of double pointed needles. So if you know of anybody who's either just starting out knitting or just learned how to use double pointed needles and may want to start working on them, I have a whole set. It's pretty much everything from size 1 to size 6 in here. And they're all in their little packages, ready to roll. I mean, it's a great kit. It's just, I have a ton of needles. Now that I've organized my needles, I pretty much have every size I need. I even have a size of size 50 needles, which I'm going to use to make another fat chunky blanket. It's one of my summer to-do list things. So, if anybody knows, I put it in a big crinkly bag. I am going to be more than happy to take it and send it to them. I mean, I live down the street from the post office. I'm going to throw it in a flat rate box. If you know of any kind of yarn donation place, that'd be awesome. But if it's somebody personal who just really wants the yarn and the needles, I totally understand it. I am going to do, how am I going to choose? Okay, so I'm going to kind of vet if anybody replies, I'm going to go with charity first over people. But if I get no charity links or nobody knows where to send it, then I will send it to a person. But I will reply saying, hey, I'm going to send it to you, or hey, I found a charity that really needs it, because we do want to give to charity first. But that's up there for grabs. It's painful to give away yarn, so it will be going out very soon. And is there anything else I should show you? Oh, well, here, I can just scoot over to show you this. My father built me lots of shelves while he was here too. So I have a TV in my yarn room, or in my my craft room. I'm going to get more furniture in here. Okay, I'm sorry about that. My computer ran out of space, so I just had to go delete all my old videos that are up on YouTube. So, yes, I have a TV in my craft room with cable. Oh, so that is probably the most exciting thing about being here. I have internet in my house and cable. Or not cable, it's DirecTV, but whatever. And I'm spending a third of what I was paying on internet last year. A third. I am so excited to be somewhere where I can have cable or DirecTV and internet for a third of what I was paying last year. I know Alaska's weird, but yes, I'm excited about it. So, this gets me to my last topic of today. I would really like to do a knit along. And if anybody would else like to join me, that'd be awesome. I'm calling it my warm woolly summer. So if you're where I'm at, it's like 50 degrees outside. It's actually chilly. I'm wearing a sweater and the heat's on in my house right now. It's cold. So I'm going to try to knit a ton of different wool items. And the first order of business is I'm going to make my Harry Potter sweater. So I have a bunch of green wool yarn over in my stash, and I'm going to knit myself a Weasley sweater that says V on it, because my kids this year are calling me Miss Vicky again. Woohoo! Sorry guys, I never really liked being called Miss Anthony. I thought it was a little odd. Actually, at one point during the year, people actually thought my name was Anthony, and that was a little, yeah. We're going by Miss Vicky again. Cool with this. It's easier for the kids to say, really, and a lot of my kids just call me teacher anyways, usually. And so, anyways, I want to have a sweater with a V on the front of it. So when they call me Miss Vicky, they have a letter reference there. It's very elementary. I've also decided I think I'm going to try to make a cat sweater, because I have enough gray yarn and I have enough black yarn out of wool. So, it might be a cat shirt or a cat sweater, but it's going to be cat related. But those are going to be my warm woolly summer knit along pieces. So if anybody else like to join me, I'm going to probably start a group on Ravelry, and you can post pictures. I'm going to try to cast on mine tonight. Haven't casted it on yet, but be happy to join. I'm going to use Instagram a lot more, or I'm going to try to. I know if you guys have been on lately, I have been posting pictures. Like I posted pictures of breakup in Barrow, which wasn't very much of a breakup. I posted some pictures of me and my dad going out for a ride here. We drove down towards Valdez because I'm on a highway system. Delta Junction is literally the junction of two major highways in Alaska. There's only like 3 highways in Alaska total. And we're the junction between 2 of the bigger ones. And so I've been able to drive everywhere. And he and I drove down for almost an hour and a half into the mountains. I guess, yeah, we were heading south, but we were heading up. So even though we were heading south and it's supposed to be getting warmer, we were heading up into the mountains and it was getting colder and colder. It was awesome. We saw a porcupine. And I've never seen one before. I've seen hedgehogs, so I don't know why, but I was convinced porcupines were similar to hedgehogs and they were little. Maybe a hedgehog would be a good class pet. Okay, that was off topic. But anyways, I thought it was going to be like little. This thing was the size of a small dog. Or not even a small dog. Small dogs are like this big. I've seen raccoons smaller than this porcupine. It's just, moseying its way across the road. And my dad was like, "Is that a beaver?" And I was like, "I don't think beavers look like that. I've seen beavers." Anyways, coolest thing ever. I've never seen one before. I've yet to see any bears knock on every piece of wood here. I would like to see a bear from the safety of my car. Or the house. Actually, I think I'd be freaked out in the house. At least in the car, you can kind of drive away. But I've yet to see a bear. And so those of you in Barrow, I never saw a polar bear. That's also why I've got to go back to Barrow. I need to see a polar bear. I lived there for 10 months and didn't see a single bear. I need to see one. But I've been told I will most definitely see them. I have one in my backyard. Everyone talks about it. Who lives near my house, so I will be seeing that bear apparently. And I forget what they told me his nickname is, but he's there all the time and everybody talks about him. But yeah, what else is new? Oh, I live near a military base, so they're not doing it today, but yesterday they were doing flyby tests of some sort, and like there'd be random booms and the whole house would shake. So in future videos, if my house is like shaking and there's random noise in the background, it's okay. The military is doing a test run or something like that. It's really cool though. Actually, I was really interested in the military base because they have lots of hiking trails out on the base, and you have to get post passes, or not. You don't have to go on post, but you get a pass so you can use military land to hike and whatnot. Right now, I'm not doing a ton of hiking off of the main road because I have no hiking buddy, and you're not supposed to hike by yourself here. But I'm hopeful. Well, this was Vicky at Knitting at the Top of the World, and thank you for joining me for my long kind of explanation of where I am, what's going on with my life post. Once again, everybody in Barrow, I really loved living in Barrow and working with everyone there. I had an amazing time, and it was really sad I had to leave. But I'm also really excited about starting this new adventure here in Delta. I will come back and visit, have no fear, and maybe one day I'll work there again. I don't know. Right now I'm really feeling like I want to find a place where I can settle down, and this Delta feels like a place I can. It's a town on the road system. I'm only a 12-hour flight from home now. Yeah, that's a big deal, by the way. Being only a 12-hour flight from your parents' house is really nice. Since I've been at the longest time, it was 36 hours from Tulixac. And from Barrow, it wasn't terrible. I think it was only like a 16-hour. I mean, because you have to do delays. But from here, I can fly directly from Fairbanks to Seattle, and then Seattle to Tampa. So I think I'm only 12 hours away now, which is incredible for me. So I'm really excited. I have a really cool car. It's a Toyota 4Runner. Well, it's not a car. It's like a truck. And it's really neat. It's got an ugly seat cover. That's going to be rectified soon. I'm going to Hello Kitty the crap out of that car or truck. It's got like an Ed Hardy tiger. Looks really, really, what's a kind way to say it? No, there's no kind way to say it. It looks really douchey. But I'm going to get rid of that. It's going to be Hello Kitty to no tomorrow. So now it's not going to look like, I have no clue, a Jersey Shore guy's car. It's going to look like a chick's truck. But it's been a really great experience so far. I really enjoyed the town. I've really enjoyed having a car. The other day, I didn't want to walk to the post office, which is pitiful because the post office is really near my house. It was nice out, and I drove to the post office like, yay! I don't have to walk anywhere if I don't want to. So there's been some really cool things about living in town. And once again, thank you for watching. I'll probably be posting in the next few days once I cast on my project, and I'll show you guys the rest of the house. I'm going to pause the video really quickly and show you the living room. I'm sorry we went into a lot of personal stuff and not a ton of knitting. I'm going to go into more knitting in the next few days as I'm home alone, able to knit, and organize my craft room too. I got a ton done today though. I just kind of I woke up this morning. I only left the house to go to the post office. I just woke up, came in here and started organizing. Took a break, went to the post office, came back on my bike. I didn't. Did I ride my bike to the post office this morning? No, I didn't. I walked because it was looking like it was going to rain, and I don't have a bike lock. I'm going to order one. Everybody says that my bike will be fine here, but I'm just scared that I'm going to ride my bike somewhere and it's going to get stolen and it's going to be too far for me to walk with groceries or something. And that's another thing. I'm probably going to order some bike baskets. If anybody knows of any, bike knitting patterns, let me know, because I might want to put a cozy on my bike seat. But yeah, well, this is Knitting at the Top of the World. Even though I'm no longer at the top of the world, I'm kind of like in the midsection of the world. I don't know if I'm going to change the podcast name, because honestly, I'm still fairly northern. I I'm up near Fairbanks, so I'm not quite above the Arctic Circle. I'm about 30, 40 miles below it, which is great for me. But yeah, well, this is Knitting Not So Much at the Top of the World, and this is Vicki, and I'm saying goodbye. Okay, so those of you who are sticking around to come see the living room, sorry, I look like I'm hunched over. Don't look at my ugly kitchen. So this is my living room. It's a little disorganized right now, but I have a living room. Right here, there used to be a wood stove, so there's a hole in my ceiling right there. It's covered up with it. That's actually a metal bucket. I'm not even kidding. There's a metal bucket in the attic sticking down into the living room. But I left my father to do some of the decorating, and this is what I came home to. So I spray painted and made all the little pictures, but I said, hey, Dad, I have to go run an errand. Can you hang these for me? And he came up with this brilliant setup, and it's really cute. So I love it. And then here are my Goodwill couches. Actually, they're not from the Goodwill. They're from Value Village. I bought them for $100. And then I had this funky little corner table that was left here. And there's a basket there with knitting projects and patterns. I bought one of those cube things. I know I'm joining a giant phase with everybody, but I bought a cube thing. And then I have my little lights. I got those at a local store here. So I thought they were pretty cool. And then there's my brand new TV. It's so big. But yeah, here's my living room. Sorry, it's kind of added at the end and it's personal, so I left it there at the end. So if people were kind of annoyed with the video, they could just be like, no, I'm done with this. But thank you.